noticed in the last, say, 6 months, this huge shift in the atheist YouTube community. When I first started my channel, the gloves were off and atheists had this vendetta. I'm sure they don't see it that way, but it was just lobbing grenades into the religious community at large. And then there was this shift, politically at first, where you had to get real PC with Islam. You just couldn't say the things that you say about Christianity. Couldn't say that about Islam. And obviously you see the YouTube community has split on this. You got, the Thunderfoot crowd, and then all the lefties like TJ and Coughlin and all those guys, and there's just this big rift between them, and they bicker and fight, and a lot of the venom that was reserved for Christians now, it just gets unloaded in all these various forms, which is sort of interesting to me. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it makes me wonder, Christianity, and I'm going to lump in Jewish religion as well, Israel. They still remain the only things that it's okay to just utterly disrespect. You know what I mean? You can just bloody them, bruise them, slander them, wrench their holy word out of context. Anything goes, because they're just so deplorable and evil. And of course, this is the real reason. They don't have the shelter. They're not under the tent of political correctness. So just have at them. Islam's like in this new category reserved previously for people like homosexuals, African Americans. You just do not say anything about them. You don't speak the truth. You don't say anything. It doesn't matter if you have nothing hateful to say. You're just commentating. You're just commenting on the nature of our society. No, not with these groups, because it's just known that you're going to be called a racist, a bigot, whatever the case may be. People don't want to deal with that. And you've really seen this kind of transpire in the atheist community to the point where now you have significant atheist personalities just becoming essential soft Islamic apologists, advocating the religion almost. It's a hilarious, shocking, and startling turn of events for a guy who's been watching this all transpire from, say, 2009 on. And I'm not necessarily making definitive statements about it. I'm noticing it, and I think it's really kind of worth dialoguing about. I mean, obviously, we're going to, like most things, disagree on its cause. I think it's because for many atheists, their religion is supplemented by their liberalism or their leftism. For many. Not all, obviously, but for many. So when they claim that they have no religious beliefs or no blind faith, they don't really tell the truth. I mean, take TJ, for example. I mean, that guy's a hardline leftist. He doesn't think. He doesn't question. He doesn't use his critical thinking skills that he's so proud of. He only does that in areas of faith that he considers to be faith. TJ's religion is his liberalism. It's just obvious. I mean, if you watch his channel with any sort of objectivity, that's obvious. Same thing with Coughlin. Coughlin's a hardline liberal. He doesn't see himself that way. But that's actually the truth. And anything that offends his liberalism, and he has the same reaction that a religious person would. Very passionate, very emotion heavy. He's really offended, like you offended his core beliefs. That's what I really think happened. So the marching orders came down, trickled down through the system of liberalism, set the marching orders for these guys. Hands off Islam. They protect it, and they don't ask it with the hard questions. And it's really, really interesting to me because this is what happens when you just allow your moral compass to just spin wildly, because they have no fixed point. They make all these moral equivalents between, the faith of Christianity and the faith of Islam. And of course those things are not, there's no correlation there. And anybody with a clear thinking mind will see that, but they don't see that because they're simply blinded by what their religion is, which is leftism. And they can't even recognize real evil. The truth is that a lot of Islam has become radicalized. That's just a fact. And to say that doesn't mean anything more than exactly what I said. It doesn't mean that my neighbor or my colleague who's a Muslim is a radical, horrible person or has any less rights than me as an American. It doesn't mean anything like that. It's just recognizing the reality, the truth. It's putting truth before political correctness. It's putting truth before speech handcuff code that we got going on in this world. Their liberalism literally prevents them from doing that, which sort of makes them dangerous. And the way to look at this is the way they see Christians. I know how they see Christians because I get it all the time. They think that our religion blinds us from the reality, blinds us from science, blinds us from the hardline reason that they think that they live by. But what's interesting is they don't see that their leftism, in this case, not all of them, once again, I want to put that like little disclaimer, not all of them, but those being affected by this. Guys like Thunderfoot and stuff, as much as I disagree with this guy, even on some of his approach to Islam, they don't see that really Thunderfoot's just staying consistent. He's just staying consistent with the way he was with religion before you guys decided to bail out. You got your marching orders from leftism and you decided, hands off Islam. Well, Thunderfoot just doesn't agree with you. He's just staying consistent with his disrespect towards religion, onward and upward. And all of his anchor doing that. It's just a fascinating thing. And once again, this is just my opinions. I'm not saying that I know exactly what's going on here, but it's fascinating stuff. And I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. And instead of writing this script and trying to be all clever about it, I just thought I'd just sort of dialogue about it, see what you guys think.